So UFC 300. I'll be honest. The rumours and the fights that have been confirmed so far are not exactly blowing my skirt up. 2 fights confirmed, I believe, are Bo Nickel versus... Name escapes me. Terrible name for a fight like that. Bo Nickel's the first fight on the prelims anyway. And you've also got Zhang Weili versus Yan. I can't remember her first name, but the Chinese girl. Neither of those... I mean, look, I want to see Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel is much of a muchness. But Weili versus Yan, okay, yeah, it's a tight fight. I don't think you can have that headlining. They've rumoured it would be Leon versus Bilal for the welterweight title. Please, no. I've seen that fight. It was going one way. I don't think it goes much differently the second time. And look, Bilal's he's a little bit like Magomed Ankalaev. There's just something about him that I just find dull. And look, that's not a great quality in a fighter. Look, he's good. There's no denying he is top level. Top level. I don't think he beats Leon Edwards. I really don't. I think Leon's probably just slightly better. Leon's too hard to take down, and he's too good in the kickboxing range to get taken out by Bilal. Obviously, anything can happen. Obviously, Bilal could beat Leon Edwards, but I think that Leon would rightly be the favourite in that one. I think that's correct. I don't think it's a fight that... it's not a fight that's a main event for UFC 300, though, is it? Am I mad? Am I mad in saying that? Is that crazy? Like, I love Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards needs to headline an event in the UK. That's where they need to put Leon Edwards with the welterweight title. Leon Edwards is fantastic. He's brilliant, and I love watching him fight. I'm not excited to see him fight Belal Muhammad, if I'm honest. I just there's something in that fight that doesn't excite me. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. They have rumoured that maybe Islam Makhachev... Oh, no, that maybe Khabib's going to come back and fight for the welterweight title. That I would watch. I'd be interested in that. Khabib Nurmagomedov coming out of retirement for UFC 300. Yes, that's a UFC 300 level event. That would work, right? Also, rumour mill again. I've said for a very long time now that I expect to see Brock Lesnar at UFC 300. Now, the likelihood of that happening has somewhat waned, I'll be honest. I thought, honestly, they would really consider doing Brock Lesnar versus John Jones for UFC 300. I felt like, now that's a UFC 300 fight. No, whether it makes sense or not, don't bore me in the comments with, oh, but Brock he's not even in the rankings and blah, blah, blah. Shut it. Doesn't matter. It's Brock Lesnar versus John Jones. That is a UFC 300 main event. That is huge. It's a marquee fight. It's huge. Brock Lesnar's transcended the UFC at this point. Brock Lesnar is a brand in and of himself. All right? John Jones goes up to heavyweight, smokes Ciryl Gane, doesn't fight again for nearly a year, comes back, defends a heavyweight belt against Brock Lesnar, boom. That is huge. That's the one that you want. Let them both pop for steroids afterwards. Wonderful stuff. You know what I mean? You've got stories, headlines for months after that with all the steroid scandals. But the fight itself, the build-up would be phenomenal. Brock Lesnar, John Jones. That would be the one. John Jones is injured. John Jones is not going to be healthy for UFC 300, and that is sad. But all is not lost. You could easily do Brock Lesnar versus Tom Aspinall. Is it quite the same as John Jones versus Lesnar? No, it isn't. But you've still got that big name of Brock Lesnar. I do think Brock Lesnar is a guy that they need to tempt out of retirement because look, and again, people talk about, oh, Brock was never that good and he's an embarrassment to the sport. Shut up. No, he isn't. Brock Lesnar was the first major pay-per-view star that the sport had. Before then, you had Chuck Liddell, T. Ortiz, maybe Ken Shamrock, but none of them put the UFC on the map like Brock Lesnar did. None of them brought the eyes to the sport that Brock Lesnar did. None of them made that impact that really brought the UFC into popular culture. Brock Lesnar was a big part of that. And actually, for that reason, he does need to be in the Hall of Fame, just by the way. That's a completely different argument altogether. But Yeah. Lesnar, I think, does need to be involved with UFC 300. Aspinall would be a good opponent this time. Do I think that they'd have to pay Lesnar a lot? Because that's a horrible fight. And I don't think that Lesnar necessarily wins that fight. But it would be a fight that people would want to watch. I would want to watch it. There's an awful lot of you that would want to watch it, whether you want to admit it openly or not, because there's a lot of, like, you know, the MMA fan circle, they're all a bit bitchy and fickle. They're like, oh, you like Brock Lesnar. You're not a real fan. Piss off. Brock Lesnar's the man. He went in there. He came from the WWE, and he came in and he won the heavyweight title. People talk about, oh, but he was on steroids. They were all on steroids back then. Did you see Alistair Overeem, right? That he was probably on way more steroids than Brock Lesnar. Did you see the state of Overeem? Come on, man. After their fight, not for nothing, one of those guys popped for steroids, and it weren't Brock Lesnar. Just saying. Just saying. Look, it was a level playing field. They were all fucking juicing out of their minds back then. And Brock Lesnar went in there and he won the heavyweight title, defended it twice. And that's a lot for heavyweight. 2 defences was tied for most until Stipe broke that record. That's insane. Absolutely insane.